أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, what a beautiful afternoon we have. Such a beautiful weather. I had to just come outside. Alhamdulillah, we're in our houses and our homes, but it's good to make sure that we get outside, get some fresh air, especially on these beautiful days and the beautiful afternoons. Alhamdulillah. It's such a pleasure to be with you all here this afternoon. As you know, and if you've joined us, you know, and those who will be joining us later will know, we are going to be continuing, as we did during the month of Ramadan, with story time. Story time is an opportunity to hear stories, different stories on different topics, whether they're true, some of them are true, some of them are made up, but they all teach us something of value and a lesson for all of us. And so we're going to have different people presenting, as we did in the month of Ramadan, sharing with us different stories and different books. Some will be read from, some might be narrated, just as we had in Ramadan. So we want to make sure that everyone joins us every Thursday at 6:30. Every Thursday at 6:30, inshallah. Make sure you join us so that we can have a successful and fun summer of listening to story time. For those of us who were with us in Ramadan, we used to have them 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday. Now we're going to be having them just 1 day a week on Thursdays, inshallah ta'ala. So make sure you join us on Thursdays for story time. Story time is one of my favorite times because I love stories. I love stories. The Quran is filled with stories. The history is filled with stories, right? There's many stories we learned from the Prophet Muhammad. Remember what we said last time? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Whenever we hear his name, what do we say? Muhammad Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Very good. We always want to remember our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu alayhi wasallam with blessings. We always want to remember him, and when we hear his name, we always want to send peace and blessings of Allah upon him, right? Such a beautiful thing. His story is the most amazing of stories, right? Today, though, we're going to hear about a prophet who came before him. And his story is told in the Quran. And that is the beautiful story and amongst the best of stories. And that is the story of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, Prophet Yusuf. So we're going to hear a brief story about his life. And he's something that, a name that we should all know. And we'll see why. Such a beautiful man, such a beautiful story. He was a prophet. This is a true story. So this is a prophet who came before Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Very good. So inshallah, let's try to get to the story. I'm going to try my best to make sure that we don't have any technical difficulties. We're looking forward to hearing this, inshallah ta'ala. Give me 1 second to get it started.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to NBIC's Storytime. The book I'm going to share with you today is called Favorite Tales from the Quran, 2 Tales, The Father's Love, The 2 Dreams. The story is written by Sanyasin Khan. The Father's Love. The Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam was a God-fearing man. He lived in Canaan, some 30 miles north of Jerusalem. He and his family lived in tents. He had 12 sons. Yusuf alayhi salam was the second youngest. One day, Yusuf alayhi salam had an unusual dream in which 11 stars, the sun, and the moon all bowed down to him. When his father heard about this dream, he knew that great things would happen to his young and best-loved son. Being aware of their father's love for Yusuf alayhi salam, the 10 big brothers felt so bad about this that they began to hate him. They would go off to look after the family's flocks, grumbling and muttering. They became so jealous of their father's love for this younger brother that they banded together and hatched a plot to kill him. One day, they took him with them, saying that they were only going out on a picnic. Now, do you think that's true? Do you think they're only going to take him on a picnic with them? Let's find out. Coming close to a dry well, they took him unaware, and seizing him from behind, they dragged him to the well and threw him down into it. Yusuf alayhi salam landed on the dry bottom of the well with a thud. He could not climb those slippery sides to escape, but he was a brave boy, and he did not cry. His courage never failed him, and he turned towards his Lord for help. While his dear father wept for him, Yusuf alayhi salam lay there for 3 nights at the bottom of the dark well. In the meanwhile, a caravan from Syria heading for Egypt camped near the well. One of the caravan people threw his bucket into the well to fetch some water. Now, do you think he's going to find water in that well? Let's see. But to his surprise, when he pulled up his bucket, there was a good-looking boy clinging to it. Who do you think that boy was? The caravan people took him to Egypt and sold him to an Egyptian prince who was called the Aziz. The Aziz took this young, good, and sweet boy to his wife and told her to take good care of him. In this way, Allah helped him to come from an unknown village to the most advanced city of that time. In this way, Allah helps those who never stray from His path. The 2 dreams. After some years, although Yusuf alayhi salam had done no wrong, Aziz's wife had the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in prison. Prison turned another page in the life of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Here he met 2 prisoners. They were servants in the royal court who had made the king angry. Both of them had strange dreams. Yusuf alayhi salam told them what they meant. One of them, a cupbearer, was freed and taken back into the king's service. One day, the king dreamt that 7 lean cows were eating up 7 fat ones, and 7 dried ears of corn were taking the place of 7 green ones. No one was able to say what this unusual dream meant. At that time, when the cupbearer asked Yusuf alayhi salam, he told him the meaning of the dream. What do you think this dream could mean? Let's find out. He explained that in the lands of Egypt, there would be 7 years when everyone was rich and had enough to eat. But after those 7 years of plenty, there would come 7 terrible years when there would be nothing to eat. The king greatly liked this explanation, and there and then he made it the Prophet Yusuf's task to look after the stores of grain so that there would be enough grain to meet all the needs during the time of the famine 7 years later. The 7 good years passed, and then, as Yusuf alayhi salam had said, there came the 7 lean and hungry years when no crops would grow and everyone went hungry. Back in the land of Canaan, Yaqub alayhi salam and his sons were hit by the famine too. So the 10 sons traveled to Egypt in search of grain. When they came to the chief of storehouses in Egypt, Yusuf alayhi salam recognized them. However, they did not realize that this minister from whom they had come to seek grain was their own brother Yusuf alayhi salam, who they had thrown into a dry well many years ago. The Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam received them honorably and asked them about their family. He then gave them an ample supply of grain and put their money back in their packs. The brothers made further visits. Finally, the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam revealed his identity to them and forgave them for their crime. He asked them to bring their aged parents. In the end, the family was reunited, and the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam hugged his parents, and made them sit on the throne, saying, "Welcome to Egypt in safety if Allah wills." Seeing how great the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was, they all fell flat on the ground to show their thanks and their awe. This, the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam reminded his father, is the meaning of my dream, which my Lord has made come true. The dream that the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam had as a boy of the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowing down to the ground before him had at last come true. This is one of my favorite stories mentioned in the Quran. Some of the lessons that you can learn from this are to be patient, grateful, honest, have faith, and trust in Allah, and don't be envious or jealous of others. This is one of my favorite stories, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed telling it. Assalamu alaikum.
All right. Wasn't that wonderful? What a beautiful story. The story of Sayyidina Yusuf, the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. As a young boy, his brothers throw him in a well. They think they've killed him. He ends up in Egypt, right? He ends up in prison in Egypt. Then his family ends up coming to Egypt. Then so many amazing things happen in his life. And the Quran talks about all of it. It's actually one of the most beautiful stories, as the Quran tells us, right? The story of Yusuf, the beautiful story of Yusuf. And there's so many lessons to learn. And it's quite lengthy and actually very, very involved. It's a story that we should always take with us, and many things we can learn from the story of Yusuf. The stories of the prophets that are in the Quran, or that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us about, are really amazing stories. And they teach us lessons, they teach us things to learn, they teach us the importance of values, of things we should have, of characters we should have. As our storyteller, Sister Fadia had mentioned, we learned from the story of Yusuf, don't be jealous. Be patient when you're going through difficulty and hardship. Be forgiving. Forgive people who wronged you. Yusuf's brothers, they wronged him, right? They did such an injustice to him. Did he take his revenge? No, because he was a prophet. He forgave them. This is such a beautiful story. So inshallah ta'ala, try to take on some of these things, these lessons. You can get these books, obviously, these books there. You can have your parents maybe tell you more about the story of Yusuf. One of the things that, I do love songs, right? I do, and I mentioned that in the past. And there's actually a song of one of my favorite singers that some of you may remember, who is Dawood Warnsby, right? Dawood Warnsby. He has such beautiful songs. If you remember at the end of Ramadan, we sang the Ramadan song of Dawood Warnsby. He actually has a song about Yusuf. It's actually, and he tries to show in the song how the story of Yusuf can mean something in our lives today. And I'm just going to read you one of the lines, the stanza or the chorus line. And then inshallah, you can look on later and maybe learn the song or learn that line. And I'm not going to try to sing it because I'm not going to do it justice. I'm not such a good singer as Dawood Warnsby. You can look online for that, or have your parents show you how to do that. And he says, the beautiful story of Yusuf has so much to fill our lives. A lesson in forgiveness and brotherhood we cannot compromise. The power of patience and the fire of hope must burn in the hearts of the wise. The beautiful story of Yusuf has so much to fill our lives. Indeed, the beautiful story of Yusuf alayhi salam has so much to fill our lives. We learn so many beautiful lessons, and we learn from it's a true story as well. And we learn about forgiveness, patience, not being jealous, being generous, being kind, and Allah's promise of forgiving and taking care of people, even if they're in a difficult situation. So please make sure you learn that song, go over this story as well. We're going to be continuing, inshallah, like I said, for the rest of the summer, hopefully, where we're going to have different storytellers every week. For those who came on late, make sure you join us. Now, those of you who were with us during Ramadan, remember we had a special guest, a house guest, who came and joined us on certain times during Ramadan. Everybody remember George? Curious George? Well, Curious George I think Ramadan is over and I think he left us. But who knows? He might return again. He might return to visit. He was with us in Ramadan. He went on his way. We bid farewell to him, but maybe he'll be back. So look out for Curious George. It was such a pleasure and an honor to be with you all here this afternoon. And we look forward to seeing you every Thursday, 6:30. Join us for story time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your families. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.